Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good afternoon.
Okay. Just waiting. They brought me the files. They're just waiting for them to put the gel on.
Okay.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
With the exception of one, everybody is in the courtroom.
Okay, I think I know which one it is. I'll do that one last. And let's see. We'll start with Timothy Clark.
Mr. Clark, step right up to the bench. Right up to the bench. Right up to the bench. There you go.
Okay, we're on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Timothy Michael Clark. Counsel appearance, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Jacob Raleigh appearing on behalf of Timothy Clark for the purpose of his arraignment only.
Okay, Mr. Clark, today is the date set for an arraignment on a PA 53 violation, also known as a bond violation. I have here a complaint of violation of conditional release. It's alleging that you violated the terms of your bond by committing a crime while out on release. I do have a police report here from November 12th, 2022 at 1:45 p.m. from an incident that allegedly occurred in the area of 5841 Valencia, city of Lansing, Ingham County, state of Michigan. So the allegations that you violated the terms of your release by hindering, assaulting, or obstructing an officer is what it appears here based on the facts in the violation. So you have the right to have a contested hearing on this matter. Also looks like there was a violation for loud or boisterous conduct. You have the right to have a contested hearing. You have the right at the time of the hearing to be represented by counsel. And I'm not sure if you have court-appointed counsel on your underlying pending matter, because I don't have that matter before me. But at the time of the hearing, you do have the right to representation, and if you're found to be in violation of your bond conditions, that would constitute a contempt violation, and you're subject to 93 days in jail and or $7,500 in fines if you're found to be in contempt of the judge's order from your bond. Okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
And who is your matter pending for, before? You know what,
What
Judge,
do
your matters, I'm sorry?
No, I don't. No, I don't, Your Honor. And
Okay, sounds good.
it was just a simple argument between me and my spouse, and I don't know.
No,
how-
I'm gonna stop you from discussing the incident or the alleged incident because I don't want you to put anything on the record that could be used against you, okay, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
So just like in the underlying matter, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have the right to representation by counsel. Mr. Raleigh, do you know if he's represented by your office on this underlying matter?
I know he's represented by us on at least one case that is pending in front of Judge Aquilina at the Circuit Court.
Okay, sounds good. So for the purposes of his arraignment for the PA 53 violation, is he entering a plea of not guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
And would he be requesting court-appointed counsel?
Yes, he will.
Okay, and then what address are you residing at?
2202 Forest Road, Lansing, Michigan.
What's your phone number?
330-481-8554.
481, give me the last four digits.
8554.
Okay. And are you employed?
I'm currently laid off, so I'm applying for unemployment. It's always around this time to get laid off.
Okay, sounds good. So what will happen is we'll send you a notice for your PA 53 violation hearing to the address that you just provided the court. Court will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf and note that you are requesting court-appointed counsel. All your previous bond conditions from the underlying matter, that will continue, okay, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can address the bond, Mr. Raleigh.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I would simply note that Mr. Clark does have at least that one pending case. I see from my records that it is set for sentencing in January. I do believe that that case obviously has been resolved one way or another if it's set for sentencing, but I think Mr. Clark obviously needs to abide by bond conditions, any no contact orders that might be in place regarding this case or any other. And I think that after this experience, he will be more diligent about that going forward. I would also note that I don't believe there's any specific allegation of violence with regard to this recent violation. So I don't believe he's necessarily a dangerous individual. And I would request a personal recognizance bond at this time.
Okay. A bond will be set in the amount of $500 personal recognizance. You need to make sure you appear for your next court dates, both before the 30th Circuit, but also when you get the notice here for your PA 53 violation hearing. You need to make sure you're appearing before court for that, okay, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
I would imagine there's a no contact order, but I'm not sure if there is a no contact order in the underlying matter. You need to make sure you're in compliance with that, and all other bond conditions from your original bond will continue. Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're all set, sir.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
No problem. On the record in the matter of the people of the city of Lansing versus Cortez Montford, file number 21-00863 OD, council appearance.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Jacob Raleigh appearing on behalf of Cortez Montford for the purpose of his arraignment only.
Okay, Mr. Montford, today's the date that's set because you had a pretrial that was scheduled on this matter for operating while intoxicated and driving while license suspended and driving an unregistered vehicle. That pretrial was back in April of 2021. You had originally been arraigned on this matter back on March 29th, 2021. And then you failed to appear for your pretrial. What happened?
Yeah, I called them when they said they didn't have nothing, because that was the time when COVID was around. And when I had called the courts, they kept telling me that they didn't see nothing. And the day that I got caught, they didn't give me a breathalyzer test. They took me to the Sparrow
Okay,
Hospital.
let me stop you about the incident. You've been arraigned on this matter, sir, so you did appear at least once, it looks like.
Yeah, I went for the first time. But when I
Okay,
went out, I called and they never gave me information. When I called
Okay,
down
well,
to
let
the
me-
city, they
let
said
me-
that they didn't have it.
Oh, okay, sir. So let me advise you of what the charges are again. This is a misdemeanor complaint that alleges here in count one that on or about January 18th, 2021, in the area of West Oakland Ave at or near Chicago Street, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did then and there operate a vehicle on a highway or place open to the general public, including any area designated for parking vehicles, while being a person with a blood alcohol content of 0.08 grams or more per 100 milliliters of blood per 210 liters of breath or 67 milliliters of urine. The unlawful blood alcohol content, that being a 0.099, contrary to the provisions of the Lansing City Ordinance 402.02, Michigan Vehicle Code, that being 257.6251B. That's a misdemeanor. The maximum penalty is 93 days and or $500 in fines. There's a count two alleging that you did drive a motor vehicle at or near the vicinity of West Oakland Ave and Chicago Street, Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, while being a person whose operator's license has been suspended contrary to the provisions of the Michigan Vehicle Code, being 257.904. That is a misdemeanor with the maximum penalty being 93 days and or $500 in fines. There's a count three alleging that you did drive or move or knowingly permit to be driven or moved upon any highway a vehicle required to be registered, which is not registered, or for the certificate of title that has not been applied at or near West Oakland Ave in Chicago, and this was done contrary to the provisions of the Motor Vehicle Code, that being 257.215. Maximum penalty there, $100 fines and or 90 days in jail. You understand the three charges there and the maximum penalty?
Yeah,
Okay, so you have the right to be represented by counsel. You're represented today by Mr. Raleigh from the Office of the Public Defender, but he's only representing you for the purposes of your arraignment today. You have the right to have an attorney represent you throughout the entirety of this criminal prosecution and if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can request to have court-appointed counsel appointed to represent you at the expense of the public, okay? Was that an okay? Okay.
yes,
You have the right in this matter to proceed to a trial. And at trial, you have the right to be represented by counsel. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say, anything that you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to see, hear, or question any other witnesses the prosecution intends to call. You have the right to call your own witnesses to trial, represent evidence that you believe would further defense to these charges. You have the right to have the city bring sufficient evidence to prove each element beyond a reasonable doubt. And you have the right to the presumption of innocence. So you're innocent until the city proves each element beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand those rights, sir?
yeah,
And then you have the right to plead guilty. You can plead not guilty or you can stand mute. Okay?
I plead not guilty.
Okay, the court will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. Is he requesting court-appointed counsel?
Yes, he is, Your Honor.
Okay, sir, so this matter will be set for a new pretrial date. And it'll be set before Judge Stacia Buchanan, so you'll receive something in the mail. What's your home address?
It's 405 South Butler.
You said 405 South Butler?
Yeah. Lansing,
Okay.
Michigan. 48915.
What's your phone number?
517-619-9020.
Are you employed?
Yeah, I work for Ryder for now.
Okay, you can address bond counsel.
Yes, Your Honor. I would note that, of course, Mr. Montford does live locally in Lansing. He's lived here for quite some time. He is employed. I don't think he's a flight risk by any means. Of course, the charges in this case are nonviolent driving offenses that don't suggest to me that Mr. Montford is a dangerous individual, and I don't believe he has history of violent or assaultive behavior. So for those reasons, I would request a personal recognizance bond.
Okay, and I don't see that he has anything else on his criminal history. Personal recognizance bond will be granted in the amount of $500 personal recognizance. While out on bond, sir, you need to make sure you appear to all of your court dates. You'll again receive a court date in the mail, so make sure you follow it with your mail. If you don't get one within the next week, you want to call the court and you want to use the case number 21-00863 to find out where your next court date is. While
Okay.
out on bond, you're not to purchase or possess any alcohol, drugs, or marijuana unless you have a valid prescription. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. You're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. Do you have any questions today?
No,
Okay, any additional matters for the record, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
You're all set, sir. Thank you.
thank you.
No problem. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Kelsey Alvarado. I have file number 19-04939, 19-04368, 21-01014. Counsel appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Jacob Raleigh appearing on behalf of Kelsey Alvarado for the purpose of her arraignment only.
Okay, Ms. Alvarado, 19-04939, bench warrant from October 13, 2022. Another bench warrant from November 30th, 2022. This matter looks like it was set for final pretrial. So you must have appeared at some point for an arraignment, and you did before Magistrate Milmore. You appeared before her back on November 30th, 2022. It was set for final pretrial December 15th, 2020, 9:30 in the morning, in person at the court. You failed to appear. This is for operating while intoxicated, second offense. What happened, ma'am?
I recently, well, not recently, but the last time I turned myself in, I actually came down here downtown and I wanted to take care of it, and I did. And that was when COVID was really bad at the time, and I went to go do my Zoom meeting because there wasn't any in-person, for the court. And I went on my Zoom and it wasn't working on my phone, and I actually called the police station or the courtroom to see why it wasn't working, and they said that they already issued a warrant for my arrest, and I just left it as that, and that's why I'm here. I mean, I wasn't planning on being here, but I'm ready to take care of the situation now.
Okay, so just for your recollection, again, this was the operating while intoxicated. um, Alleging that on or about September 28, 2019, at the area of Cesar Chavez and Case in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, state of Michigan, you did allegedly in count one commit the act of operating while intoxicated. It's alleging that you did operate a vehicle upon a highway upon Cesar Chavez and Case while having an alcohol content of 0.08 grams or higher per 210 liters of breath, and that this was done contrary to Michigan Compile Law 257.6251. This is a misdemeanor with the maximum penalty being 93 days and or $100 to $500 in fines and or 360 hours of community service rehabilitative programs. Vehicle immobilization is mandatory with a prior under MCL 257.904D, and cost of prosecution reimbursement to the government for emergency response and expenses for prosecuting defendant may also be applied. There's a second offense notice. It says take notice that the defendant was previously convicted of operating impaired on or about November 2nd, 2026 in the 54A District Court. Therefore, upon conviction, the defendant will be subject to an enhanced sentence under MCL 257.6259 or MCL 257.62511, and the vehicle forfeiture under MCL 257.625N. This is a misdemeanor. Maximum penalty is $200 to $1,000 in fines and 5 days to 1 year in jail, at least 48 hours to be served consecutively, or 30 to 90 days of community service, or both. Rehabilitative programs may also be ordered under MCL 257.625G5, and the cost of prosecution and reimbursement to the government for emergency response and expenses for prosecuting the defendant may also be ordered under MCL 769.1F. Mandatory vehicle mobilization of not less than 90 days or more than 180 days is ordered under MCL 257.904D. And you understand the charges, ma'am?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, and you've already been advised of your rights when you were previously arraigned, but because it's been so long, I'm going to re-advise you. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say and anything you put in writing can be used against you. I think you have another file that you've not been arraigned on. Give me just a minute. Before I advise you of your rights, file number 21-01014 is a driving while license is suspended. And there's a citation here alleging that back in April 11, 2021, at approximately 2:11 p.m. in the area upon King Boulevard at or near North Willow Street, which is in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, state of Michigan, that you did allegedly commit the act of driving while your license was suspended, revoked, or denied. And so that's a misdemeanor. The maximum penalty is 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines. You understand the charge and the maximum penalty, ma'am?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, so as to both of these files, you do have the right to be represented by counsel. And you are represented today by Mr. Raleigh for the purposes of your arraignment only, but you have the right to have an attorney with you to represent you at each stage of the criminal prosecution of both of these files. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can request to have an attorney appointed to represent you at the expense of the public, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is she requesting court-appointed counsel?
Yes, she is, Your Honor.
Okay, you have the right to remain silent, Ms. Alvarado. Anything you say, anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty. You have the right to plead not guilty. You have the right to stand mute. In both of these files, you have the right to proceed to a trial, and you have the right to have a jury trial. At the time of trial, you have the right to the presumption of innocence. That means you are innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to bring evidence that we believe is further defense to the charge. You have the right to see, hear, or question any other witnesses that the prosecution intends to call. And you have the right to have the prosecution prove each element of each of the charges being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you have any questions about those rights?
I do not, Your Honor.
Okay. For the purposes of her arraignment, is she entering not guilty pleas on both files?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's your address?
908 West Miller Road in Lansing, Michigan, 48911.
Are you employed?
I am currently not.
What's your phone number?
517-862-5530.
Okay, both of these matters will be set for a pre-trial. I'm assuming they'll both be set before me because the OWI is already assigned to my courtroom. You'll receive a notice in the mail. What's your next court dates for both of those files? It'll be your responsibility to make sure that you receive those, because if you don't get it within the next week or so, you want to make sure you're following up to find out what your next court date is. Okay, ma'am?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
File number 19-04368. You owe a balance here. Looks like of $430. And you were on a payment plan since 2019 on that. But you've not been making any payments.
Your Honor, is that for like the child, is that for me driving with no
This is for-
insurance and,
This is for driving while license. Yep, is not valid.
okay, was there a child restraint on there as well?
Let me see, I think so.
I believe I remember
Oh,
that.
no, I see a speeding, driving while license, not valid, and uninsured motor vehicle. This was
Oh.
from October 15, 2019, on Pennsylvania. And it
Mhm.
looks like you pled guilty to the no ops, but you had some other matters that were already in collections for other files, so we just added that to the payment plan. We'll refer this to collections and you can make a payment plan with them, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you can address bond counsel.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Alvarado, of course, lives locally in Lansing, has lived in Lansing her whole life, has family in the area. She has 2 children at home. I would also note that all of these offenses we've discussed today appear to be, nonviolent traffic offenses. I don't believe that Ms. Alvarado is a danger to the public or to the community. I don't believe she's a flight risk. I believe she has every intention of seeing her pending cases through to the end going forward. So I'm requesting personal recognizance bond.
Did she turn herself in on the warrants, or was she picked up on something else?
Picked up, Your Honor.
Picked up?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Based on the circumstances, some of these files are pretty old. She knew she had warrants, she didn't turn herself in. I think there is a likelihood that she would not reasonably be insured to reappear back in court. So I'm not granting a personal recognizance bond. Bond will be set in the amount of $2,000, 10% on file number 19-04939. While out on bond, you're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol, drugs, or marijuana unless you have a valid prescription, not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court, not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior, and you're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. Do you have any questions about those conditions at this time, ma'am?
I do not, Your Honor.
to make sure you appear to court.
I will, Your Honor.
Let's see here. And then file number 21-01014. Bond will be set in the amount of $100 cash surety. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
You all set, ma'am?
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
I didn't really catch it. I don't know.
We're on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Damon Rashad Bisbee. Council appearance.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Jacob Raleigh appearing on behalf of Damon Bisbee for the purpose of his arraignment only.
Okay, Mr. Bisbee, today's the date that was set for arraignment. I do have a misdemeanor complaint here. I think it's in the file. Okay. Complaint alleges that on or about November 12, 2022, at the area of Baker in Pennsylvania, which is in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, state of Michigan, that you did allegedly contrary to law commit the act in count 1 of domestic violence. It alleges that you did make an assault or assault and battery upon a Brandy Tolliver, an individual with whom you had a dating relationship, and this was done contrary to Michigan compiled law 750.812. Restitution is possible as this offense may have resulted in another individual's property being damaged or physical injury or death to another individual. This is a misdemeanor with a maximum penalty of 93 days and or $500 in fines. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Do you understand the charge and the maximum penalty, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You have the right to be represented by counsel. Mr. Raleigh is representing you today for your arraignment only. You have the right to have an attorney with you to represent you at each stage of the criminal prosecution and if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney to represent you, you can request to have an attorney appointed to represent you at the expense of the public, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he requesting court-appointed counsel?
Yes, he is, Your Honor.
Okay, and Mr. Bisbee, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say, and anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty. You have the right to plead not guilty. You have the right to stand mute. You have the right in this matter to proceed to a trial in this matter. And you have the right to have a jury trial. At the time of trial, you have the right to the presumption of innocence. So you're innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to see, hear, or question any of the witnesses the prosecution intends to call. You have the right to call your own witnesses at trial or present evidence that you believe would further a defense to the charge. You have the right to remain silent, not have silence be used against you in trial. And then you have the right to have the prosecution prove each element of the charge being brought against you, and they have to prove each element beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you have any questions about those rights today?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, for the purposes of his arraignment, is he pleading not guilty?
Yes, he is, Your Honor.
Mr. Bisbee, what's your home address?
818 Baker Street, 48910.
Speak, you said 818 Baker?
818 Baker Street, 48910.
Are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you employed?
Right now, part-time, well, I went to part-time with McDonald's, and I just started back at FHI, warehouse job.
What's your phone number?
843-534-9301.
You're currently scheduled for pretrial conference via Zoom before Judge Cynthia Ward. It's going to be on November 29th at 9:30 in the morning. Did you get a notice to appear as well as her Zoom instructions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, do you have any questions about your pretrial or how to appear?
No, ma'am.
Counsel, you can address bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would just note that Mr. Bisbee lives locally in Lansing. He has extensive family connections in the area. As he just mentioned, he is currently employed. I don't believe he's a flight risk. Although this present charge apparently involves some element of assault, I would note that I don't believe Mr. Bisbee has a history of assaultive crime or violence on his record. So I don't believe he's necessarily a danger to the community. I'm confident that he can maintain distance and separation from the alleged victim in this case. And for those reasons, I'm requesting a personal recognizance bond.
Are you currently on probation or parole, Mr. Bisbee?
No, ma'am.
Bond will be set in the amount of $500 personal recognizance. While out on bond, there's a no contact order protecting Brandy Tolliver. You're not to be within 1,500 feet of wherever she lives, works, or goes to school, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are not to possess or purchase a firearm or any other dangerous weapon while you're on bond. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs unless you have a valid prescription. You're not to engage in any assaultive behavior. And do you have any questions about what indirect or direct contact means? Because you're not to have either of those as it relates to Ms. Tolliver.
Yes, I know I do have some belongings over there. And while staying there, I will see if I can like call my brother or whatever, probably meet up, or they meet up, get my stuff. That's okay. But you said don't
So
even
you
talk
want
to
to
her
know
on
if
the
you can
phone?
arrange it, you want to know if you can arrange a third party to get your personal items?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can't arrange a third party to go and get your items, but no other contact beyond that.
Okay.
Any other questions, sir?
I just know you said no drinking alcohol, no subscriptions. What'd you say about that part?
I said you're not to have any alcohol or drugs or marijuana unless you have a valid prescription, okay?
All right.
Do you have any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, any additional matters for the record today, council?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
You're all set, sir. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Avina Lopez. I also have the people of this. It's the city of Lansing. City of Lansing versus Avina Lopez. This is file number 22-01204 and 22L2712652. Council appearance.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Jacob Raleigh appearing on behalf of Avina Lopez for the purpose of her arraignment only.
Okay, and Ms. Lopez, in the file number, or the file that I don't have the number on, I have a felony complaint here. It alleges that on or about November 13, 2022, at the area of 4820 South Waverly Road, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly commit the act in count 1 of assault with a dangerous weapon, that's also known as a felonious assault. It alleges that you did make an assault upon a Nancy Orev with a dangerous weapon, to which being a pistol, but without intending to commit the crime of murder or to inflict great bodily harm less than the crime of murder. That this was done contrary to Michigan Compile Law 750.82. This is a felony with a maximum penalty of 4 years and or $2,000 in fines. Your DNA is to be taken upon arrest, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Do you understand the charge, ma'am, and the maximum penalty?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And the other file, file number 12-1204. I have a citation here, and it alleges that on or about May 4th, 2022, at approximately 4:11 p.m. in the area of Lowcroft at or near Bel Air in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly commit the act in count 1 of driving while license is suspended, revoked, or denied. There's also a citation for a disobeyed stop sign, and then a no insurance violation as well. And so in this matter, you have the right to proceed to a trial. I'm sorry. The driving while license suspended is a misdemeanor with a maximum penalty being 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines. You understand the charge or charges on that citation, ma'am?
Yeah, I
As well.
understand.
Okay, I'm not sure. What's going on with the other two, because the other two are actually civil infractions, so it should have been defaulted. And
Right.
I don't see where it was assessed, but it's likely that those should have been assessed because a fee should have been assessed because you failed to appear back on June 6, 2022 for your court date. And I see where the magistrate did request for there to be a default judgment entered. So you'll have to find out what you owe on those, but you do still have a pending driving while license is suspended from that, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, as to the felonious assault, you have the right to have a preliminary examination within 21 days of today's date. At the time of the preliminary examination, you have the right to have the prosecution meet their burden, which is to establish that there's sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause sufficient to charge you with the crime. If this matter proceeds beyond a preliminary examination, in the felonious assault, you'll have the right to proceed to a jury trial. You also have a right to a jury trial when the driving while license is suspended, revoked, or denied. At the time of jury trial, you have the right to be represented by counsel. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. That means you are innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to see, hear, or question any of the witnesses that are called against you. And you have the right to call your own witnesses or present evidence at trial that you believe would further defenses to these charges. You have the right to remain silent at trial and not have silence be used against you. And then you have the right to have the prosecution prove each element of the charges being brought against you. They have to prove each element at trial beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you have a question about those rights?
No.
You have the right to be represented by counsel. Mr. Raleigh is representing you today for your arraignment only, but you have the right to have an attorney with you throughout the pendency of these matters and if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can request to have court-appointed counsel appointed at the expense of the public, okay?
Yep.
Yes. Is she requesting court-appointed counsel?
No, she's not, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you intend to retain counsel, ma'am?
Yeah, I have an attorney because I'm about to fight this case because I didn't do it and I have proof on my phone.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you have some evidence that you want to preserve, but I just want to remind you of your right to remain silent. Anything you say, anything you put on the record, or anything you put in writing can be used against you, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so the court will enter a plea of not guilty on both files, okay?
Okay.
On your felony file, you have a probable cause conference before Judge Station Buchanan on November 23rd, 2022 at 1:30 p.m. That can be held via Zoom. And then you have a preliminary examination that's scheduled before Judge Buchanan. It's in person here at the court. And that's going to be December 1st, 2022 at 9:30 in the morning. Did you get notice to appear and Zoom instructions, ma'am?
Oh, yeah, I did right here. Is it this paper right here?
Yes.
Yeah, and then I got it.
That is correct. Okay, and at this time, do you have any questions?
No, you pretty much answered everything up.
Okay, let's see. What's your home address?
1236 Woodcrest Lane, apartment 102.
Are you employed?
I am not right now.
What's your phone number?
517-574-3207.
Okay, and as to the driving while license is suspended, you'll get a notice in the mail regarding your next court date, okay, ma'am?
Okay.
Counsel, did you want to address bonds?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Simply note that Ms. Lopez, of course, does live locally in East Lansing. She has 3 children at home that she cares for. She lives with family. I certainly don't believe she's a flight risk by any means. I would also note that although certainly this case, this felony case that is involves assaultive allegations, I don't believe that Ms. Lopez has any history of violent or assaultive conduct. And I have every confidence that she'll be able to abide by any sort of no contact order or any bond conditions put in place by the court. And for those reasons, I request a personal recognizance bond.
Okay, bond will be set in the amount of $2,000 personal recognizance while out on bond. You have the following conditions. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. There's a no contact order that will be in place protecting Nancy or Rev, and that means you're not to have contact directly or indirectly with Nancy or Rev. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I do have a question though. If she contacts me, like, is there a problem with that? Like, can she get in trouble? Because like, she's on my Facebook, like in my phone right now. Like, if I was to bring it out, like, she literally is on my Facebook. I literally met the girl last night. I don't even know who she is.
Well, we have a no contact order, so you probably would want to make sure that you can't be contacted on Facebook with her. Doesn't sound like you are a friend, so I don't see why she would be on your Facebook as of today. Nonetheless, the no contact order is to protect her because she's the alleged victim. You're not to be within 1,500 feet of wherever she lives, works, or goes to school. If she, however, somehow ends up wherever you live, work, or go to school, you need to probably contact law enforcement immediately, okay? For your own protection.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Okay, and so you're not to have contact directly or indirectly with her, okay? That
Okay,
means not through a third party, no Facebook contacts, no DMs, no messages through anybody else.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about that?
No, I don't.
Okay, you need to make sure you appear to court for all of your court dates while you're on bond. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. You're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon while out on bond. And you need to report to pretrial services on the felonious assault within 48 hours of your release from custody, okay?
Yep.
Do you have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, any additional matters for the record, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I have a question. You said 2,000 PR bond. Is that for both of them or just one file?
Oh, no, that's for that one. On the driving while license suspended, there will be a $200 personal recognizance.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. I think the last one I have is Morgan.
Yes, Your Honor. What I was told at the beginning of court was he was not being cooperative. So give us a moment and we'll call up there.
No problem. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, can you hear me? Okay. On the record, in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Andres Morgan, council appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Jacob Raleigh appearing on behalf of Andres Morgan for the purpose of his arraignment only.
Mr. Morgan, today is the date and time set for an arraignment. I do have here a felony complaint. It alleges that on or about November 12th, 2022, at the area of 111 North Grand Ave, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly commit the act in count 1 of home invasion first degree. It's alleging that you did break in, enter, or did enter without the permission a dwelling located at 111 North Grand Avenue, that's also known as the Radisson Hotel, with the intent to commit an assault therein, or while entering, present in, or exiting, did commit an assault. And while entering, present or exiting dwelling, Jennifer Ranley and or Brittany Holman and or Jill Holscher was lawfully present therein, contrary to Michigan Compile Law 750.11082.
Yeah.
Is he clothed?
No, Your Honor, he's refusing to put clothing on.
Okay,
No.
I'm gonna terminate the arraignment. Bye.
Oh. Your Honor, I want to go to,
No, she just terminated the arraignment.
Okay, he'll be arraigned tomorrow when he becomes willing to put some clothes on.
Okay.